What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Block Hash podcast channel. Today, we're going to be talking about Fantom. We're going to do some chart analysis and look into the metrics behind Fantom and where it's likely going into June of this year, as well as the rest of 2024. And I'll give you my price predictions and thoughts on Fantom at the end of this video as well. Make sure to check out our Substack, blockhash.substack.com, to get access to all of our content, videos, info, articles, insights ahead of time before anyone else gets it. It's free to sign up. Go check it out, guys. blockhash.substack.com. All right, so let's dive into this. Fantom is, like most cryptos in the crypto market, is down and starting to pull out of this bear cycle. So we're going to look at the weekly really quick just to kind of give you an idea of how high it's gone and where it's at now, what the resistance areas are, ceilings, floors, all of that. So we had an all-time high come in around 330. We have some stop out resistance here around $1.63. We have a little bit more down here. I'm just going to eyeball it for now, around $1.15. And that lines up perfectly with our recent top for Fantom. It hit that ceiling, which was a former floor. Now, if we really go back, we can see some correlations that go as far back as 2021, right before it popped off. Fantom actually popped off towards the end of 2021, which was very interesting. It definitely had some strong gains, going from lows of, 6 cents, 5 cents, 2 cents, things like that, to as high as 80 cents. So those were pretty strong, but it got as high as 348, I think. But you can see on these historical ceilings and floors that Fantom has resistance that it needs to break through. All right, so that's on the weekly. I'm going to zoom into the daily to help give some context, make it a little bit more clear. All right, so this at $1.15-ish was a former floor for Fantom during the bull market. Here, coming out of the bear market, that has turned into a bit of a ceiling where it bounced pretty hard there, came back down and actually chatted around here at a former high for Fantom back in 2021 that it had to break through. Bounced around here, went sideways, bounced on it right here, came back up, and then broke through below it. And we'll talk about the moving averages here in a second. And then it tried to pop up again and then came back down below it. So there are two areas of resistance that are pretty difficult for Fantom to stay in. So as Fantom continues to move in an upward direction, excuse me, come on, chart. So as Fantom continues to move in this direction, we're going to draw a couple different trend lines here. They might be a little arbitrary, but that's all right. They're not going to be perfect. Just want to give a sense of direction. Again, with charting, guys, it's not about being 100% accurate all the time. It's just what I call a sense of direction. Okay. And I'll explain that more when I talk about the EMAs. So there's a sense of direction for Fantom ever since October of 2023, like the rest of the crypto market, where things have turned very bullish versus bearish. It was in a very bullish trend down, like Fantom was not looking good, and then it turned around pretty quickly. And it's maintained this initial bullish trend line. It's been able to maintain a little bit of a steeper one so far, coming back and tapping it maybe once, 2, 3, 4 times. Could argue a fifth in here somewhere if you want, but it's holding it well. But you also have a descending wedge coming in here, or a descending line, descending trend here for Fantom, where it's tapped 1, 2, maybe you could argue this was trying for 3. And now there's a wedge where Fantom is going to come to a crossroads here sometime in mid to late June. And in mid to late June, we should have a better sense of what direction Fantom wants to go. Ideally, and like we've seen with Bitcoin and Ethereum, we want Fantom to come out of this and move and start a funnel upwards and continue this trend line. What we don't want to see is Fantom break down into this zone, because and then it's going to be probably a much more prolonged period of time before Fantom can get out of this range. Now looking at the moving averages, you can see up here in the colors, the 20, 50, 100, and 200. It's holding the 20, 50, 100, and 200 pretty good, especially the 200 and the 100, which I like to see. Like in a bull market, you want to see the trend stay above the 100 and 200 as much as possible. And it's doing that, which is really good. And every time it comes below the 100, it seems to gap back up. It did here, did here, did here, did here, all throughout April and May. That's a good sign. That's a sign of trend moving in the right direction, and that it's not likely to go below the 100 without much more of a push. Didn't even really come back to retest the 200. So all good there. Right now, it's flirting with the 20 and the 50. So we'll see if it can hold that as these EMAs start to kind of converge on each other and get tighter. And that's going to happen when we go into this wedge. The RSI is not necessarily overbought or oversold at all right now. It was overbought back in March. It was getting close to oversold, but not quite oversold in June. So there could be a little bit more sell action that comes in here or moving sideways. Only thing that concerns me, honestly, the MACD is going to be very similar. So I'm not going to jump to that one. But I think we have enough information here where I can make a prediction for you guys. So if we're able to, get through this wedge, my guess is Fantom's going to retest this over the summer. Maybe here in June, maybe in July, maybe in August. It's probably going to chop around. And then my guess is it will come up to retest the $1.60 area. That'd be a great sign. I think it'll do that by the time we get into the fall of this year. So Fantom at $1.60, $1.63 is entirely possible. All right. And that's in the short term. I think if it gets through this wedge, it'll get to $1.14 pretty quickly. Just depends on the sentiment of the market, but things are pretty good. This has been some good pullback and consolidation for Fantom to shake out weekend. I think there's no reason why it can't continue forward. Now, looking a bit more long term, how do we get Fantom to new all-time highs? So assuming everything goes well, obviously it needs to break out of this wedge, needs to get through $1.14, 15, needs to get through 167, needs to chop around whatever this looks like before it can go back up, which might not be until early 2025 if everything goes according to plan. But more so what we need to happen, whatever this ends up looking like, it needs to form this former high actually for Fantom as a new floor. If it can turn this former ceiling into a new floor, is a really good sign that Fantom's going to probably try to go retest its all-time highs. In crypto, it's always possible that things just go straight up or straight down. But I'm, most optimistically trying to find ways for us to stair step up so that this is a healthy growth pattern for Fantom and for the rest of the crypto market too. Like I don't want to see these striking, God candles that come in because they're not sustainable. Right? You want to see the growth like we've seen here. Like this is good for Fantom because it's likely going to hold this growth for a very long time, if not indefinitely. Oh, goodness. Come on, TradingView. So that's my guess in the short term as we get to $1.60, $1.65-ish, something like that in 2024. Now going into 2025, which I'm going to say is probably going to be where the peak of the bull market happens. We can get here. The problem is we're talking about going from 160 to 330, which is 100% move. Entirely possible. It's just very big move. In entirety, going from where we're at now is 300%. That's a lot of ground to cover, and Fantom has not shown the volume yet in order to do so. If you just go back and look at Fantom's volume in the last bull market in August of 2021, they were getting, $500 million in Fantom traded in a day. What are we getting? We're getting like 40 to 50 to 60 million maybe in a day, maybe 80 million in a day. The volume's not quite there. Even on the big days, we've had maybe a couple, 300 million, 350 million. There's one there, 500 million, but the trading volume is not enough lopsided in the order books to drive it upwards. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. So I'm thinking 160, 165 is definitely possible in 2024. I don't know if it'll happen in June, but again, I want to watch this wedge and see what happens if we can break up. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you like Fantom? Do you think that there is any possibility that more companies will use it? I know Google Cloud is going to be using Fantom to build applications, which is also really nice to see. But let me know if you've seen anything else in the ecosystem regarding Fantom. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like, share, subscribe, and follow if you haven't. If you have, thank you so much, and see you on the next video. Cheers.